Hey you guys, so I'm here for the Real Housewives of Atlanta review. If you watched my Black Ink Crew Chicago video, you already know why I'm late giving this to you guys and everything. Like I said, I seen the first 30 minutes of it. I seen it up to the point. The first 30 minutes on Sunday, I seen it up to the point where Candy was talking to Kenya and Cynthia about what had happened, and she showed them the video of Tammy and the boys coming back to the house and everything. So let's just get into this thing. And I probably be, I mean, I got my notes or whatever, but I probably be all over the place with this shit. We get the continuation of the Never Have I Ever game, and somebody had said something about Never Have I Ever had golden showers. And Sheree and Portia, they start drinking, and I said, "You nasty bitches." I was like, "Oh my god, the fuck." And but anyways, so they go back to the house. Well, they're back at the house or whatever. Candy gets introduced to the guys, and Candy is kind of looking like is these guys spending the night? Like, she looking like, okay. But they all go outside. Kim and Candy, they're sitting on the pool side. Glenn comes over, congratulating her on her pregnancy, and she's like, oh, thanks or whatever, and kind of in a low voice. And this motherfucker gonna talk about some. Do you have an attitude? I said, what? Like, I mean, what attitude did she have? Like, I'm lost. I'm not understanding. It was no attitude in Candy's voice, and even if she did have an attitude, like, you gonna really come at the pregnant lady? Like, he was like, I don't need nothing from nobody. I don't need nothing from you or whatever, and walked off or some shit like that. He said, and he walked off. And Candy and Kim, they looking at each other with confusion, and they both kind of like, he might need to go or whatever. And so these hoes is drunk. The rest of them, they by the jacuzzi area and everything, and Portia, she starts, kind of dancing a little bit, and she goes over to the pool part of the jacuzzi or whatever, and Oliver, which is, the guy that she was talking to, that she brought back, he follows her and everything, and he slips and falls, but he the only one that seemed like he was calm and normal. You know what I'm saying? The motherfuckers that Tammy brought back seemed like they was on one, including her. I'm like, she called Glenn her nephew or whatever, but I'm like Bondi Blue. Glenn might be her drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Because they all look like it was something. I mean, and I've noticed in these last few episodes, it do be looking like Tammy be on one, like for real. But anyways, what else happened? So Kenya makes a joke about Tammy lurking or whatever, because Tammy was swimming, and I think she was creeping up on them or something. And Glenn, he started getting all hostile, like, what you say about my auntie? What you say about, don't say nothing about my auntie or whatever. And I mean, Kenya looking like, it was a joke, like, all I said, she was, she was lurking and everything, like, it's not that serious. And so, Kenya, she goes over to talk to Kim and Candy, and, both Kim and, not Kim, both Candy and Kenya, they both agree that Glenn is weird and something is seriously wrong with him. And, Tammy, she comes over or whatever, and, they asked her about something. I forgot what they asked her about, and she was like, Tammy got that man voice. She was like, yeah, it was okay, or whatever. No, she was like, hold, let me get it together. She said, yeah, it was okay. I was like, oh, she do got a deep voice, like, damn. But anyways, but Kenya tells Tammy how Glenn is making her feel uncomfortable, and Tammy, she didn't seem like she was upset. She understood, how Kenya was feeling or where Kenya was coming from. The girls kind of start to notice. Well, first of all, I want to understand how these bitches gonna sit up here and act like as if they ain't hear Glenn call them a bitch, bitches and hoes and all kind of shit. Now, see, I mean, for a man to do that though, like that's mad disrespectful. I can do it because I'm a female. Okay, yeah, I can do it. Just like Bonnie Blue said, y'all got, there's always these double standards against females and to be negative ones. So, yeah, use one on y'all asses. Y'all can't call women no bitches. But I don't need nobody getting in my comments trying to give a whole paragraph and speech and everything. I don't got time for it. I feel what I feel about the shit and I'm sticking to it. Right. But anyway, so people see that everybody see that things is kind of getting a little tense or whatever. Everybody starts heading towards the house. Kenya, she tells him like, you've been acting weird all day. I've been doing nothing but trying to talk to you. You've been acting weird all day, and I want you to leave. And he started walking up on her like he about to hit her or something, calling her, he called her a little bitch, little bitch, little bitch. And, Tammy, she trying to get control of him, telling him to stop or whatever. And then next thing you know, he knocked her ass out. I mean, not knock her out like, bam, like, but, he ended up like hitting her or pushing her somehow or whatever, and next thing you know, she on the floor, and the way she fell, I was like, I mean, that shit was instant. And I was like, God, then she had bruises and shit. I don't know. I mean, I guess the bruise, I don't know if it was from him or from her falling, but I was like, the fuck? But it was just so crazy, and he started getting aggressive with security and everything, and it's just, I mean, it was crazy, everybody started panicking, and Sheree was like, somebody call an ambulance, somebody call 911, this, that, and third, or whatever, and Tammy, she just sitting there, at this point, her eyes is open, and all she could think about, where's Glenn? Like, bitch, this motherfucker just knocked your ass on the goddamn floor, and you worried about him at this point? To hell, I'd be like, fuck that motherfucker. Fuck that. But, anyways, Kim, she's trying to, Kim's trying to point the finger at Kenya or whatever, blah, 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 Cynthia, she kind of starts beating herself up because she was like, I brought Tammy here and everything. And Cynthia, it wasn't your fault or whatever. Her and Kenya had kind of got into it a little bit. And she was like telling Cynthia like it wasn't your fault. And it was a little bit of miscommunication there because Cynthia, I guess, was trying to tell her. I mean, I guess Cynthia thought that Kenya was trying to tell her not to be worried about Tammy and everything. And that's not what Kenya was saying. Kenya was just saying don't beat yourself up about the situation. So, I mean, it was just a little miscommunication there. But Kim ends up leaving and everything. We get, the next day, Candy leaves. Well, she's preparing to leave, and Kenya comes in, and then Cynthia comes in, and Candy proceeds to tell them like, while y'all were asleep last night, me and the rest of the girls, we were up and everything, and she shows them the footage of them, just joking around about Tammy or whatever, and next thing you know, they hear, in the footage, they hear a knock at the door, and Portia answers the door, and she opens it slightly and sees that it's Tammy, and she closes it back, and she looked back at them, and she's like, or whatever, and then she opens it back up, and she was like, hey, and Tammy looking like, seriously? I said, I mean, that shit kind of scared me, I was scared to go downstairs during commercial break, because, I'm telling you, at that moment, she looked like she would be one of the hardest levels to beat in a goddamn game. The way just a straight up ghost, like. And then she gonna have the nerve to come back with the guys. Now, I mean, what kind of security do they have there? Because they said the only way they could have gotten in is if they had hopped the fence. So I'm just like, what kind of fuck shit is this? And then, Tammy still had on her nightgown and everything, and I'm just looking like really, you know what I'm saying? But what pissed me off though, backing up a little bit, to the night before when the shit took place, is how all the girls except for Candy and Cynthia pretty much try to put the blame on Kenya or whatever, and saying Kenya provoked this. How the fuck she provoked this situation? Now, granted, I understand people, and and it's even people like, I seen people on Candy Burris's page who was putting blame on Kenya for this situation or whatever. Now, and I guess it's because people are so used to Kenya starting shit. It's like in the one situation she didn't start some shit, the blame gets put on her. I'm just like, now I want to know how these bitches feel watching this episode now. Do they still feel like Kenya is to blame for this shit? Cause I'm sorry, like I didn't say like what I mean, me and my sister, we was talking about this shit last night, or technically Sunday night, and I mean we both was like, what else could she have done? Like, the nigga was sitting up here, he came at Candy, and Candy is pregnant, and the way he was snapping off and spazzing at Kenya. Now, granted, with the whole snapping situation, yeah, I don't like people snapping at me neither, but he could have came at her better about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was a ticking time bomb from the jump street, off the motherfucking rip. And then like I said, y'all bitches was right there when he was calling y'all bitches and hoes, right there at the fucking jacuzzi, and y'all gonna sit up here and act like y'all ain't hear the shit. But it's so funny how when Candy said that he tried to come at her too, that's when they had to change the tune. Like, oh well, he came at Candy, that's kind of scary, in Portia's voice. So, moving on from that, we get Phaedra and Sheree talking, and this conversation kind of pissed me off a little bit, because how you gonna sit up here and compare this shit to motherfucking Mike Brown and all the other shit that has happened in this Black Lives Matter movement? Like, really? Like, fuck out of here. This nigga Glenn was sitting up here trying to square up with a female. He came at a pregnant female. And he was trying to square up with another one. And you gonna sit up here and try to bring the whole Mike Brown thing, like that shit, like those two shits equate, like they on the same fucking level. Like, fuck out of here. Like, that shit pissed me, that whole conversation pissed me off. And her talking about our black brothers, and we gotta appreciate them, or whatever the fuck she was saying. Like, it's no excuse for the way that motherfucker acted. None whatsoever. That motherfucker he really got some serious mental issues, and Tammy, the other dude, they was doing that. I guarantee you, they was doing more than some fucking weed. And moving on, that shit pissed me off. Like, girl, bye. We get Kim and her husband and her kids. She's telling him about the whole situation and pretty much how she feel like Kenya provoked the situation, whatever. Moving on, we get the girls having dinner and Portia having dinner with Oliver. So they didn't even show the girls actually having dinner, did they? I think they just showed Portia and her with Oliver at a restaurant or whatever. And they're talking and everything, and he asks her for a kiss or whatever, and she just kind of like, whoa, whatever. And it's like, see, he probably perceived her the way he saw her act the first night he met her, and that's because she was drunk. Now that she's sobered up and really knows what the fuck is going on, it's just kind of like, whoa, like, back up or whatever. And I remember Candy had said something early in the episode about how won't she just throwing a party for Duke or whatever, and it's just like, hey, I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing on that. But she finally gives in and gives him a kiss. She gets in. The girls, they knocked out. They sleep. She wake them up or whatever. She said, "How y'all bitches gonna be sleep? And I gotta tell y'all about my date." And she tells them what happened and everything. And they invited Tammy to the dinner, but Tammy never made it. Then we finally get to sit down with Kim and Kenya, and Kim, she still felt like the situation was provoked and everybody was having a good time. And Kenya told her, like, "You wasn't there, Kim." And Kim was like, "Oh, but I was." And Kenya was like, "Bitch, you weren't there at the damn jacuzzi." Which was true. You wasn't there at the jacuzzi to see how he was acting, calling them bitches and shit like that. But Kim, you even said yourself when you was sitting with Candy, like, this motherfucker might need to go somewhere. So how is it that Kenya was like over exaggerating this situation? But it's just like, and then, Kenya was like that. It seemed like you was rushing to get home to your kids or whatever. You like basically trying to say she used this situation as an excuse. Kim told her don't cross the two or whatever. I kind of have to agree with Kenya. I kind of feel like Kim used this shit as an excuse to, she was just trying to find any little thing to get back to her kids because she already was feeling uncomfortable there any fucking way. You know what I'm saying? But they, said what they had to say. They agreed to disagree, and that was the episode. Y'all tell me how y'all feel about it. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you come back, and I will see you for the what's today? Oh, today is technically Tuesday. So yeah, I'll see you guys for the Gossip Chronicles. All right, bye. Mwah.